Yeah, Cry for You, very, very well known. That it was written for the girlfriend that when I went from Dallas to New York to join Danger Danger. I had a girlfriend back here in Texas. But of course, the song has lasted a lot longer than the relationship did. And but now when I play it, I just, it's there's plenty of, you know, sadness in the world. You can always draw from whether it's something personal or whether it's something in the world. It's not hard for me to put myself in that place of emotional
Is
projection,
it
let's just
something
say.
you can learn?
Um, that is very, that's a deep question. And I don't know how to answer that because I'm just me.
Okay.
I do have pretty deep emotional issues, let's just say, meaning, no, I suffer from, I can suffer from depression at times.
Okay.
The word empath gets thrown around a lot lately, and I might resonate with that a bit in that I'm highly sensitive and very um, affected by energy around me. I'm very affected by people's energy, you know, and maybe more deeply than some.
And more
So,
than you'd like, I imagine, because that impacts you
so
in many ways in a
it,
bad way, right?
it's really hard for me to, yeah, to not be affected sometimes. It could be just even from television, I have to be careful what I pay attention to.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, but again, as an expressive artist, there's no doubt that that's a huge component of what comes across because I'm feeding on all that kind of energy, both positive and negative. But that's life. It's that balance. You know, um, I wouldn't want to always be the most up person. It takes peaks and valleys for there to be appreciation. Of when things are great. You have to kind of go through the rough stuff too, and nobody gets away with that. We all have to face so many things. Everybody has obstacles. Everybody has limitations, and there's a lot of it that's psychological. There's a lot of psychology involved in everything we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more I've learned about psychology, through the years, and the more I recognize what my patterns are, how to recognize them, how to work through them, you know, is powerful. But the music has always been that for me. It's that important to me. It's that part of my fabric. It's always been my solace. Um, because I was really a pretty shy kid growing up, but music was. I lived my
It
life
just
through
becomes
through the music.
everything in your life, right?
It does, and so it's through that. It's sometimes too important to me. Like if I don't play the way that I want to play, sometimes that can be disconcerting. If you're a player and you're listening to this, of course, we all know what that's like. When you have a great gig, you can feel on the top of the world. You have a bad gig, and man, it's like, oh, I can't go on.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's it. But even though it's hard, I wouldn't trade for anything else. I mean, I'm okay to go through this. It's not always easy, and it can be heavy, right? But again, if any of this resonates with you, if you go through darkness about anything, just know that you're not alone. That we all do, but learning about it and finding people to talk to about it is huge. You know, I was a person that kind of grew up thinking that, well, you just don't ask for help, right?
I see. You wanted to
But
figure
but at a
everything out on your own, find your
Yeah,
own way.
and not appear weak, and not even though clearly people see me go in a dark direction, it was pretty clear. Okay, well, something's up, but learning how to be okay with it and to recognize that it's you're not alone, you're not different, you're not a bad person. Just there's emotion, man, and it's okay to feel it, but it is better to find someone to confide in, even if it's a friend, of course. But sometimes, I mean, I even got help professionally from psychologists and people that really deeply understand what people go through.
Yeah.
Anyway, that time, but it ties into everything. I think your original question was, how can you learn to tap into that emotion and how to
Yeah. Yeah.
put forth that? And that's I don't know that you teach that.
But you definitely live a lot, right? A lot of emotions. You live these emotions to be able to transfer
Oh,
them, right?
that's exactly right. That's an old jazz saying. You it won't it, if you it won't come out your horn if you haven't lived it. you can play the blues all day, and that's maybe why, I'm sensitive to authenticity in the blues, because obviously it comes from, African American experience, and right. That's something that I'll never feel, you
Yeah,
know. So,
yeah,
I'm sensitive to that. Though the music, the the authentic presentation of that style and the ones that do it great. And it's not all African American guy. I mean, some of my favorite blues players are white guys. Robin Ford. It's one of my favorite. He's deep though, because he's got the entire foundation of all the authentic early blues. Then he's adding some jazz, instincts to that, and just comes across in a way that I just love to hear. Larry Carlton is another one that those guys I kind of got into around the same time and just learned so much from. But then, because I didn't hear Albert King until after Stevie Ray passed away,
whoa.
Emb- embarrassingly. And I heard that, one bend from Albert King. I went, well, that's Stevie Ray, right? It's like,
Now I
okay,
knew. Now I know where that guy came from, right?
yeah. And Stevie, one of the best ever to pick up the guitar, but he had that foundation of Hendrix and all the great kings,
Yeah, yeah,
Albert King, BB, and all the guys, but just came across in his way in a very authentic way,
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll just keep trying. I don't know.
Man,
I'll
yeah,
just
that's so
keep
deeply.
on it. But there's the emotion and the person, the human being, is going to be the common thread through all that. It's going to have the same intent, the same, the desire to communicate and to emote, whatever it is. It's not all darkness. There's a lot of light too, and there's a lot of positive. My general goal in operating through life is I want peace. I want everybody to be okay. You know what I'm saying? If I'm passing somebody by, I'm gonna smile. They may not smile back, but I just want them to know, hey man, I'm good here if you are.
Yeah.
Let's be cool. As my son, who's 20 now, when he was growing up, we'd be at the grocery or wherever out in public, and he'd see me interact with somebody. He goes, "Did you know that person was in?" Oh, I'm just being nice and saying, "Hey," and you never know the impact you might have on somebody that's having
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
tough
yeah,
time. Just a smile and just to
yeah,
have a positive interaction for a second.
yeah.
And I've had people tell me this years later, said, "Man, you talked to me one day, and that,
Uh,
it did make a difference." You know what I'm saying? There was this one, we were recording the second Danger record in where were we? New River Studio in Fort Lauderdale. And there was this group of kids. We had Danger, so we were popular with some of the young rock fans, and so there was a group of kids that was hanging out outside the studio every day. We'd get there, we'd hang out and see all these people, and then we'd go record. And we'd come out, and they're still there, and we'd hang out. Really sweet. And there was this one girl there that just kind of was quiet and to herself, and I recognized, because I knew girls like that in high school, that maybe there might have been a tough family life, or they weren't as pretty, or whatever, some of the girls. But I always made it a point to talk to her, because I sensed that, you know, she needed it. She needed somebody to talk to for a second and say, hey. So years later, I'm doing a guitar clinic somewhere in Florida, and she came out. She had her daughter with her, and she's like, well, I'm a school teacher now, and I can't tell you the difference you made in my life. I get emotional thinking about it. And all I was doing was being a sensitive human being and recognizing, hey, maybe this person could use a little chat.
yeah,
And that's all it was. It was
yeah,
nothing heavy, nothing, just taking the time to. But that's the empathy part, kind of just recognizing and just wanting people to be okay. So if any of that comes through my music, that would be the ultimate goal, I suppose, is just to,
it does. It
just
does. It comes through everything. It comes through the
thank
feel. It comes through the horizontal playing melodies. It comes through the crystal clear chords, but with the punch and the
you.
drive and with the rhythm.